Number 8, we're going to be talking about Muslims, and it says here, you can see it on the screen, Muslims adore with us the one true God, the creator of heaven and earth. Now, this is a big sticking point for radicals within the church, for religious extremists who really don't like Vatican II and don't like the Pope right now, and so they take these things out, but they don't fully understand what they mean. Now, the statement that Muslims adore the one true God is true. They do worship the one true God, but it's confusing. And I do think this is one aspect of Vatican II that could be ambiguous or confusing, because many people mistakenly think that it's saying that Muslims and Christians, we worship side by side as brothers. We all worship the same God in the same way, and there's really no difference between us. So really, we can be united. And I think people misunderstand what it's actually saying. They also might mistakenly think that Muslim worship is acceptable to God, and they're doing a good thing by worshiping God. But Vatican II never says that Islam is a religion of salvation. It never says that the worship of Islam, worshiping the one true God, is acceptable to God. And in fact, it says the opposite. Pope John Paul II specifically said that Islam is not a religion of salvation because they reject the cross of Christ. What this is simply saying, first of all, is trying to find common ground, because any real apologist finds common ground first and finds those things that we have in common and then discusses the differences so that we can have respect for people and not just yell and scream at each other, because we know that does not work. So what Vatican II is trying to do and trying to say is that Muslims, Jews, and Christians are the three main monotheistic religions who believe in one God and worship one God. That's what they're saying. That is the common ground they're trying to find. Whereas other people will say, but they don't worship the one true God. They reject the one true God. They reject Christ. They reject the Trinity. They don't worship God. But here's the thing. The Jews, for thousands of years, worshipped and adored the one true God without knowing who he is, without knowing Jesus, without knowing the Trinity. They worshipped an aspect of God. They didn't have the fullness of truth, but they understood there was one God in the universe, and they worshipped that one God, even though they did not have full revelation. That's important because Muslims are the same way. Is it possible to worship one true God in the universe even though you don't do it properly, and even though your religion might not be true? Is it possible to worship the one true God even though you don't know who he is fully and you yourself don't have full revelation? We say, yes, it is possible, even though they don't know who God is. In Acts chapter 17 in the Bible, Paul comes across pagans who have a statue dedicated to the one true God, and he commends them for worshiping the one true God. He says it's a good thing. I see you are religious in every way. And then he goes on to explain to them and to evangelize them and to tell them who the one true God really is, Jesus Christ, God made man. And he evangelizes them the gospel truth. But he starts with the common ground that we both worship one God, and you worship one God, and that's a good thing. But here's what you don't know about him. It's the same thing with Jews and Muslims. It's great that they worship one God. It's great that they're not pantheistic or polytheistic. It's great that they don't believe in many gods and they only believe in one God, unlike many religions in the world. But they don't know who God is, and so they need to be evangelized more. But that doesn't mean they don't worship one God or claim to worship one God. And again, it doesn't mean their worship is accepted by God, because we know it's not. They're a false religion. But they still worship God. They still believe in one God who created everything, and they try to worship him. The way I see it is it's like a 13-inch TV, and Muslims are watching a 13-inch TV. It's full of static. It's black and white. Sometimes, every once in a while, the picture comes on the screen and they can see a blob. They can see a person there. And we'll say that the Jews are like a 20-inch TV, since they had more revelation than the Muslims. A 20-inch TV where, theirs is still black and white. Theirs is still staticky. They can see the one figure a lot more clearly, but that's all they can see. And they deduce that there's one God, even though they can't see beyond that. Christians have a 100-inch high-definition color TV in full bloom, where you can see the whole picture. And we not only can see that one picture that both of those TVs see, but we can see two other persons in the picture as well when the static disappears. So we have the full understanding of what that picture is portraying, what the TV show is showing, and we can see the whole thing, whereas they only can see in part. Are we seeing the exact same station? Yes. Are we watching the exact same picture? Yes. But they don't see it the way we do. They only have a very little understanding, whereas we have the full revelation. They see one person, we see three, but it's the same picture. But if you look at the history of the Catholic Church, there have been several popes who have said that Muslims and Catholics worship the one true God. And there have been many scholars and other people who have said that Muslims worship the true God. They worship one God. This is something that extremists in the church today, radical traditionalists in the church today, find infuriating. The hair on the back of their neck stands up when they hear that the Muslims and Catholics together adore the one true God. I think the confusing word is together, as if we're like both together in this. I think that's the ambiguous word, that we're both worshiping side by side. We're both doing the same thing. No, that's not what it's saying. Because, and we know this, they say that's heresy. It's heresy, but long before Vatican II, the Catholic Church and popes have taught that Muslims worship the one God. And here's just a few quotes just to prove it. I'll put them up on the screen. There's more, but just for the sake of time, I'll put 2 or 3 up on the screen. This comes from Pope Gregory VII, and he's writing to the Muslim rulers of Algeria in the day, and he says this: "We believe in and confess one God, admittedly in a different way." So he's saying that they believe in one God, just in a different way. St. Robert Bellarmine, the great counter-reformer who we know, he even says that the Jews themselves and the Turks, Muslims, although they are impious, yet worship the one God. That's pretty clear, and that's Robert Bellarmine, of all people, and he says that. Listen to what another pope says. Pope Pius X says that infidels are those who have not been baptized and do not believe in Jesus Christ because they either believe in or worship a false god, as idolaters do. Though admitting one true God, they do not believe in the Messiah, neither as already come in the person of Jesus Christ. So they they believe in one true God, and Pope Pius X acknowledges that, although he says they do not accept the Messiah and therefore are still a false religion, just like idolaters, but they do believe in one God. And he says that. And even Pope Pius XI, as we'll see here on the screen, says this: "But in this battle, joined by the powers of darkness against the very idea of divinity, it is our hope, our fond hope, that besides the host which glories in the name of Jesus Christ, all of those, and they comprise the overwhelming majority of mankind, who still believe in God and pay him homage, may take a decisive part." So he's talking about a large majority of the world believes in the true God, but doesn't know who they are, and he hopes that they will become more involved. Pope Pius XII says that they do not belong to the visible body of the Catholic Church, having given noble and sincere expression to their appreciation of all that unites them to us in love for the person of Christ or in belief in God. So they do believe in God. They do believe in one God. They do claim to worship the one true God, but that doesn't mean their worship is accepted. It doesn't mean their worship is true. It is not. It's false. And in fact, Muslims have a lot of ideas about God that are true. He is one. He is the creator. He is merciful. He is kind. He's forgiving. They have some understanding and concepts of God, but they don't have full revelation for who he is. They do reject the Trinity, and they don't know Jesus Christ. And in fact, that's why Pope John Paul II says they're not a religion of salvation, because they reject the cross of Christ. So we can admit core truths. We can admit common ground while recognizing our differences.
Hi everyone, my name is Kate. I'm the video editor here at Catholic Truth, and I just wanted to say on behalf of all of us, thank you so much for taking some time to watch our videos and learn more about your faith. You guys really make this channel possible, and we truly appreciate you being here. So thanks again, and God bless.